Hey, what's up, everyone? Good morning. It's Victoria from TRADEPRO Academy. Welcome. It is April 20th, Tuesday. Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for jumping on here this morning. It is Thursday. We have 2 more days of the markets trading today and tomorrow until we close out the week. Now, hope everyone is doing well. We're going to talk about Tesla and some of the other stuff here that we've got. We got some debt talk and where I could see the potential market pulling into the coming days, as we've seen this continuous bid day in and day out, week in and week out, start to get flustered at these tops. So first and foremost, we have earnings that continuously come out, right? We had some bank earnings this week. We had the start of the tech earnings, right? We had Tesla that came out. Shares of Tesla fell 7% after the bell on Wednesday, after lowering pricing and high expenses contributed to a margin miss. And the company will continue to prioritize sale growth ahead of profit due to EV price wars and macro challenges in the economy. So this is an extremely important point. This is what Elon Musk said on the earnings call, and we're like laying the groundwork here. And it's better to ship a large number of cars at lower margin and subsequently harvest that margin in the future as we perfect autonomy. He also noted that the energy storage business had its best quarter ever and even managed to pick a fight with Microsoft after the Q1 earnings. So Tesla down pretty heavy after the bell here. We have downside in general equity markets as well. Overall, Tesla here, as I can see, let me just open this up. Tesla down to 164 after the bell here, or before this market open, pumping it down about 9% here pre-market. So this is one of the first major big tech companies to report earnings this time around, and we'll see how that kind of trickles into the other expected names like Apple, Microsoft, so on and so forth, that have a larger contribution to the market movement itself. So realistically, right, we are kind of bracing for a lower earnings quarter here, which is expected, right, to come in as at expectations of a lower quarter to push prices down, but it seems like everyone is kind of pricing these things in. Another thing to talk about is House Speaker McCarthy has also introduced a bill that would raise the $31.4 trillion debt ceiling by $1.5 trillion, along with limiting federal spending, which would be enough to avert a default until March 31st, 2024, kind of pushing it down the line, kicking the can down the street pretty much. So Limit Save Growth Act, which is set to undergo a House vote next week, is estimated to cut budget deficits by over $4.5 trillion over the next 10 years by bringing discretionary spending back to 2022 levels and capping future spending growth at 1% per year for the next decade. So COVID funds, student loan forgiveness, and energy regulations are also part of the proposal. And President Biden has a choice to come to the table and stop playing partisan political games or cover refuse to negotiate and risk bumbling his way into a first default international in our nation's history. This is what McCarthy said. Here's words, not mine. So we'll see how that kind of goes on. Remember, that's one of the main concerns as well. We have that debt crisis to talk about. We have the financial crisis that's playing a very, very large undertone in these last few weeks, even with earnings, right? With earnings, we saw JP Morgan last week do really well here. Held up to the upside. We also had a pullback in Goldman Sachs this week in earnings, but they're kind of holding out pretty well for now. And banks overall, they're not really getting beat down on that last earnings cycle. So today we have a lot of news that comes out of the Federal Reserve, right? We do have some news coming out of existing home sales, leading indicators, EI natural gas inventory. But starting at noon Eastern time, we had Fed Waller speaking, Fed's Mester at 12:20. At 3, we have Fed's Logan. At 5 p.m., we have Fed's Bostic. And in the evening at 7:45, we have Fed Harker. So riddled with Fed talk starting at noon today, which can be a market mover, right? Especially on financial innovation, economic and policy outlook that Fed Mester is speaking about. And then we have all these other economic conditions that Fed Bostic in the evening is going to be speaking about. So can move markets in the evening time. Now, what is going on with the overall market here that we've got going on? So we had a decent little pullback here in the overnight session from that 80 region, that 84 region in the S&P 500 down into these low 40s. The way I see this playing out is that the offer is starting to come out in the evening session, trying to push prices lower, while this bid in the regular trading hours is coming in with some pretty weak buying, I should say. realistically, I don't think the bid is very, very strong here. We're still holding out some of the weaker selling into the regular trading hour session, but the buying isn't super, super strong, as I wanted to see us tag that 42.06 this week before we start pulling lower. However, overnight weakness is coming out. What I want to see today is I want to see a pop, a buy stop run into the 58.60 region, potentially even like 65s, before we start to see some sell pressure come out in this market. I do like the downside, but we have to start breaking under 41.40. We have to start breaking under 41.32 to get into the distribution blocks to the downside. But I think this overnight weakness is going to get attempted to get bought up, get a little buy stop run, some profit taking before we do see that turnaround. And I could see that turnaround between 58 and 64, which is, I know, a very wide range. But those are the areas that I'm looking for, that I want to see the offers come in. Right now, as it stands, the offer side is still stronger. These rallies that we get, even from the low 40s, are getting beat up a decent bit. So you have to be very, very cautious as we come into this morning session that's about to open in 20 odd minutes. So with that being said, let's see what Fed does today with all these Fed speakers. And yeah, let's see. Tomorrow's Friday. Want to trade smaller today this week on a good note, see if any of the offers come in. Usually Fridays, what we get is a decent pop on the Friday. We get a strong close into the weekend. We get a nice buy stop move. I want to see if Friday is going to be the case this week again. If we actually get some bear and some sell side on Friday, this can contribute to a more of a pull down in the coming weeks. I think that we've topped out for the time being, and we want a deeper pullback to see if any longs are going to come in with strength at lower levels. So that's where I'm at with this market. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. So remember, come check us out at TradeProAcademy.com, community.TradeProAcademy, for our free Discord where we do chat on a daily basis. And let's open our live room with our traders. So I'll see you guys in there, and chat soon.